Okay, ladies and gents, today what we're going to work on is prepping up all of the plastics for the Ninja 650 to get ready to spray these things with our base coat and clear coat. So what you see here is I have all the parts lined up from the least dirty back to the most dirty. That way I don't get grease built up in my cleaning solution. What I'm going to start with here is a citrus-based simple green. It's not a very toxic cleaner. I've got to have my hands in this, so I'm also going to be wearing gloves throughout the cleaning process. I'm basically just going to scrub with a regular old brush, and then I've got a rag to get into the little hard to reach areas. But let's get this thing started and get them degreased and cleaned up, ready to be sanded. Okay, let's get the gloves on here, and I'm going to start out with this piece. This is what actually joins the two upper cowl halves together and the windscreen mounts to it. This one was scuffed up a little bit. I've already pre-sanded on it some to smooth the deep gouges over. But I'm going to dip the brush down into the solution and just front and back clean everything up really well. Any mud, dirt, grime, and the reason you want to clean front and back is so when you go to handle this thing later before you paint, you won't be transferring any grease, grime, or dust, debris onto your painted surface. So I'm going to continue to do this for a few minutes and transition between the brush and the rag until we get a nice clean piece, and I'll show you when it's finished. Alright, as you can see here, we've got the piece all degreased and cleaned up, and with your bare hands you can feel the plastic and you can tell that there is no grease or residue left on this part. So I'm going to take this and lay it in the sun and let it dry off and start on the next one. Now onward to the small parts here. These will be quick and easy to clean. The biggest thing I want to make sure is I can see where whoever had the bike previously had waxed, and there's white residue down in the lettering of this piece. So I got to make absolutely sure I get all of that out of there. And also before I paint and sand and all that, I'll be doing a paint prep coat. That'll help loosen all of that wax and residue out. Now the way I mixed up this degreaser, the simple green solution here, I did it fairly strong, maybe like a 3-to-1 solution, because I wanted to make absolutely sure I get all the grease as diluted as possible off of these parts. Now when we get to the chain guard, there's going to be an extra step that we're going to do before we put it down into our solution to get all of that heavy chain grease off of there. And with any time you paint, always the most important step is going to be your prep work. The better prep you do, the better your product's going to look at the end. Now I am not by any means any kind of professional painter or auto body man. Actually, half the time I don't even know what in the hell I'm doing. But I did learn a lot from painting the tank on the Ninja. Doing the patch, the prep, trial, error, made mistakes, corrected mistakes, watched a lot of different videos. So basically, my purpose in this video is going to be to combine everything that I learned from the various people and put it in one place. The prep work is even more critical on plastic because of its ability to flex more. If you have one spot that doesn't adhere well, any bit of flex is going to pop it off and you're going to have a huge chip in your finished product. So spend the time in the elbow grease to scrub and clean all of these little parts that you want to paint. Alright, I'm going to go spray all these small pieces that I've cleaned and lay them in the sun to dry as well. Here is the fender all clean and rinsed, and you can hear there is no grease or grime left on this at all. Now for the next piece is going to be the lower cowling that I had to purchase from eBay. There's a few dings and dents, so this one's going to need extra attention for sanding and prep. First we got to get rid of all of the grime and residue that's on this thing from the engine, oil changes, They also had put a piece of tape on here to label their part numbering system with what year, model, and bike. So it's really sticky. I'm going to get some of my paint prep and remove the sticky gunk first. This stuff here is just regular Duplicolor prep spray. I'm going to spray that on there and wipe away the sticky from the tape. Alright, all cleaned off. That Duplicolor prep spray will also tell you what kind of quality their paint was as well. If it was a paint that lacked hardeners, you're going to know really fast because it'll eat through rattle can style paints. And this was a good paint job that was on this. A little purplish, but hey. So this one's going to be interesting because it doesn't quite fit down into the bucket like the smaller pieces. So I'm about to make a mess. And this one also has a lot of wax residue. Especially on the inside openings and in the corners. Very important that I get all of that out, or I'm going to have adhesion problems when I do my paint. I had someone ask me on the fairing video what the difference between thermal form and the ABS injection, because they said that I seem to stress a lot about the fairings that I ordered were ABS injected and everything was high quality. Yes, that is very important, at least to me. It's a cost savings to some, which is, depending on your budget, could be more important to you to go with the thermal formed, but I wanted quality over in price. The ABS injected has formed tabs and holes. See how this hole is raised up? It's nice and smooth. You can look on the other main fairing pieces and you'll see that the tabs are an actual part of the fairing. They're not attached after it's made. And that's what happens with thermal forming. With ABS injection, you have a form, two halves of a form that compress together, and inside there's a hollow cavity. On either the top or bottom of the mold, or sometimes both, there'll be injection holes. And what they'll do is they'll heat the plastic into a liquid form and inject it into this mold. So that plastic flows around under heat and fills all of the gaps. It makes a nice uniform finished product, body part. And all of the mounting studs, they're actually one part of the fairing. Now with thermal forming, the way it works is you still have two forms, but there are no pinholes, no injection points. And they basically take a flat sheet of a certain mil thickness plastic, slide it in, sandwich the plastic between the two molds, and then they apply heat to it, and there's usually a vacuum that will suck the plastic sheet into the shape that they want. Now this is a super cheap way to produce things. Think of it as, one of my buddies was joking about, he's like, man, you're gonna get these fairings that they're sending you, talking about the ones that were supposed to have been provided. You know, a company was gonna give me a set. He's like, man, they're gonna be like those little cheap Halloween masks that you put on your kids and stuff, and he's laughing about it. Those are thermal formed, the little cheap flimsy masks, and he gave me that analogy, and now every time I see a site selling thermal formed fairings, I think of cheap Halloween masks. But yeah, they basically take a sheet of plastic and put it in between the molds, heat it up and suction it down. They take it out, and then they have to trim and cut all the openings out and cut the outer edges to be the right shape and size and dimensions, and then all of the mounting tabs have to be glued on instead of a part of the finished product. So a lot of times they won't be on straight, they won't be in the right spot, you'll have to drill them. It's a lot more work on your part, and if you're not experienced and know how to heat and bend and deal with plastic and body parts, you may do more damage or ruin your part, and then you're paying again for a replacement. And that's one of the disclaimers when you buy that stuff. It's like 90% fit. Well, yeah, 90% the actual shape fits, but all the mounting holes, there's your 10%, which is, to me, the most critical. So that's why I was on a hunt for pure ABS injection molded, because these things, you can just slam them on the bike, boom, the holes line up, bolt them in, and you're finished. So that's the difference. Let's back to cleaning. Okay, now this one is not too awful bad. As you can see, it's fairly clean, not a lot of grease buildup on this one. A little bit of dirt on this, but overall it's in really good shape. If I could have gotten one for the other side in this kind of quality, man, it'd been awesome. The reason I didn't buy brand new lower cowlings is because they were as expensive as what I've got the painted ones for. The painted ones were like, you know, 150, 160 bucks from that Asian Motor Parts site. These were just as expensive. They were like 140 a piece. I got them on eBay, the one for like 45, 50 bucks, I think. From Kawasaki, the upper fairings were like 370. I looked it up again last night. 370 bucks for one half of one cowl. Who the hell's gonna pay that, really? So I feel great. I literally got it for a third of the price. But anyway, back to cleaning. And now for the last two pieces that are absolutely filthy. The rear guard of the front fender, which is caked in dirt and mud. And then the rear chain guard, which is greasy as hell. But I'm gonna spray this one off with water, knock most of the dirt off, and scrub her down. Scrub-a-dub-dub. And I don't have to paint this piece. They're not painted from the factory. But I just think it's going to enhance the looks to have as many trim pieces painted up as possible. And now for the filthy pain in my butt. The chain guard. Huge amounts of grease buildup on the underside. Again, I won't be painting that, but we got to get it off there. So, to the WD-40 we go. Well, that actually wasn't as bad as I thought. That's just a quick wipe down with WD-40 and the grease is pretty much gone. So now we'll put it down in the solution and scrub it like we did everything else. Get the rest off of here. There's my first wash through. I got most of everything off of it. Now there's one more trick we're going to do to remove the rest of whatever grease is in the texture of the plastic here. So I'm going to empty my solution, get a bucket of clean water, small portion of clean water, and show you another cleaning product that works really well for getting the grease out. All right, my secret weapon for removing heavy grease and grime off about anything, SOS pads. These things are awesome. Clean the grill, pots and pans, wheels on the cars. They're awesome. They're pre-soaked in their special cleaning solution, but it will scuff up the surface along with cleaning everything, which is a double bonus for what we want to do on the plastic. It's going to get everything roughed up before we do the initial sand, which is going to help the paint adhere to it. So I have a bucket of clean water, this pad, and I'm going to scrub that chain guard. And you just want to put it down in the water and scrub. Now this is by far the most important aspect of painting, not just plastic but anything. It's making sure it's clean and prepped. And these SOS pads, you can buy them at any grocery store. They're cheap. A box is like $2 maybe, and you get a ton of little pads. And these things have been around forever. I remember, you know, my grandmother used these years and years and years ago to clean pretty much everything. Come here, boy, you got something on your face. No, not that bad, but looks like I may have a storm brewing in. It's one of the reasons I'm not out riding today, that, and I really want these fairings on the bike. And this stuff, this SOS is doing such a great job, I am slightly tempted to hit all of my parts with one of these real quick. It's crazy, crazy good. That'll also help scuff up everything. I'd do that. I swear, that is one clean chain guard. No grease on that bad boy anymore. Freaking awesome. Okay guys, well, that is the end of the video 1 on prepping, degreasing, and washing the parts down, what to use, how to do it. Follow me along in the next episode. We'll go over the types of sandpaper, what grits to use, how much you need to scuff up and buff the parts, and what additional cleaning after that needs to take place. So stay tuned for that. It'll be uploaded very soon. I'm actually going to set up in the building and get everything ready and start filming on that right after this. So please hit like and subscribe if you want to learn and continue to learn on how to rebuild a motorcycle and paint your own fairings. Till next time, ride safe.